Well, this season just keeps getting better and better and better for the Baggies. Nat says Albion 2007-8 vibes. Baggy Russ says can't thank. Shillan says enough for looking after our great club. And Carlos Corberan is the absolute GOAT. Well, we've got our same four smiling Baggies fans who week after week come on here and tell me just how great the club is. And this week, no one can argue with them. The only problem is Carlos Corberan going to be a Premier League manager with West Brom? To answer that and look past at the Portsmouth game and look ahead to the next one, it's Dan, Dean and Aaron on Where Baggies Walk. Welcome back to Where Baggies Walk after the international break, and a nice 250 round trip to Portsmouth. Well, no problems whatsoever. Welcome back, Dean, Dan and Aaron. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Where the Baggies Walk, we know there's lots of other Baggies content you can be watching, but this is the quickest and most comprehensive review of all West Brom content. So drop a subscribe, drop a like, and let's crack on with it. Right, okay. Go on then. Get out your system. Dean, you can start for us. How good was that?
It was excellent. I've not long got back, to be honest. We stayed in Portsmouth last night. We had a great time. Then got stuck on the M40 on the way home today for 2 hours. Some lorry had gone across the central reservation, but fortunately it didn't dampen our spirits because we were still sky high from yesterday.
Brilliant. I mean, got to say, I don't know if it's the TV microphones, but how loud were the West Brom away fans? They're just second half. All you could hear was Lord's My Shepherd and Boing Boing and other things. Then you came home and watched Wolves get beat. So that was a great Sunday for you, wasn't it? Dan, what's impressing you the most? Because problem with being on Sky is it shines a spotlight on it, doesn't it? That was not just a win. That was a thoroughly impressive win from minute 0 to minute 90.
Yeah, I actually think it was a statement, I think, to everyone else in the league to say, look, okay, we didn't go up last season, but this is our season now. And it's just put a massive statement out there to say, we're ready for this now. Come and beat us if you dare.
When you were talking day one at Dan about the Birmingham thrashing, did you see anything like this coming?
Not at all. Say that again. My mum tried ringing me then. Say that again. Sorry.
Is she wanting on it? No, you were the one. You were the one who was moaning about the Birmingham result, the friendly game, where the Blues battered you. Was it 4-0? Was it in a friendly? And from that point onwards, West Brom haven't looked back. But was even you? Did even you see this coming? Any slight inkling?
Nah, not at all. You know me, Mark. I'm always the negative one here, but it's just completely changed my mind how well we've been playing at the minute, and it's just a massive turnaround from that thrashing against Birmingham.
Aaron, Portsmouth had 2 weeks to decide how they're going to stop Tom Fellows, and it only took him 50 seconds or something in order to get behind that back line. Oh, God, he's some player, isn't he?
I mean, you can see why Premier League teams are sniffing around him. I mean, I think the bids that teams have put in, they're just insulting. And it just shows that again, like this insulting. I think his price tag's only ever going to increase. And I mean, it's well deserved as well. I mean, he's well worth the money that we're asking. And I hope, there's never a price tag on his head because I don't want to see him leave.
Absolutely. Once we finish wrapping up the Portsmouth game, we're also going to look at left backs this week on this channel, and we're asking these guys for their unsung player of the month for August. We want you to put that in the comments now. Which is the players who haven't been heralded for their achievements in August? We've heard a lot about Fellows. We've heard a lot, obviously, about the goalkeeper and others. We'll hear about Mawat, of course, I'm sure now. But who should deserve a shout out? We'll do that at the end. Okay, Dean, run us through then. Who impressed you the most at Portsmouth?
So the outstanding player on the pitch was Alex Mowat. I think he must have covered every blade of grass and 2 cracking goals as well. So he'd definitely be one of the unsung heroes you're talking about. He doesn't get mentioned very often, but he ran the show yesterday. Sorry, the Sunday game.
Were you sat behind the third goal?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. No, sorry, it wasn't. No, that was at the other end. The first goal was our end, and the other 2 were the other end. But it looked good, and I've seen it 101 times on playback.
I'm trying to keep level-headed here, but it's hard to, because I mean I watched the game myself, and you're very impressive, Dan. Not just not. I'm trying to. I can tell you something you don't know. Defensively sound, slick in passing, exciting to watch as well. Is this? I'm trying to put my finger on it. Is this coaching, or is this the build-up of a project extension from last year? I mean, this is not even a different. This is a very different West Brom side to last year in its feel, its organisation, and just it feels like its way of play. I don't recognise it at all.
Well, when Bruce took over and we ended up being bottom of the league, got rid of him, thank God. I don't know how he's ever become a manager. But then as soon as Carlos took over, you could see the progress. From being bottom, we ended up, was it top 10? And then it's just sort of progressed then. And then he's had 2 full seasons with us, hopefully. And yeah, you can just see his plan coming together. And hopefully he will take us up and stay with us then in the Premier League. But it's just amazing to see the work rate that he's put into this, as well with the coaches he's brought in as well.
You mentioned the Premier League. Is it too early, Aaron, to be having those kind of discussions with you?
Well, I mean, 5 games in, you had a good start. You never want to get too ahead of yourself, but the way we've been playing so far, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we went unbeaten. I mean, it's that sort of play style we've had so far. The way we're just putting away teams. I mean, if we could put our chances away against Leeds, we would have got 5 from 5. So I mean, it's definitely a very positive time. And I mean, Premier League is a very realistic achievement, in my opinion. I mean, considering what I think all 3 of us predicted at the start of the season before the transfer window ended and whatnot. I mean, I'll be surprised if any of us said anything outside the top 6 now. I mean, it's just a very, very good time to be an Albion fan. And if you had said that, that's 6 months ago, you'd have slapped me across the face and told me I'm crazy. But I mean, now it's a complete different story, and I'm just buzzing. Honestly, I can't contain my excitement much. And honestly, it's just, I just can't wait, because you can see the Premier League as a foreseen conclusion, and hopefully, touch wood, I mean, that does come to fruition.
Absolutely. I mean, it certainly looks like they're all enjoying the football. You can tell that. There's a togetherness there, which isn't there in other teams. Let's have a look at some social media takes then. So Dean, Harry says, good performance overall, lucky at times in the first half because they should have scored. Palmer needs to fix his kicking. Other than that, we are winning the effing lot. What about the Palmer kicking thing? I mean, we're picking on the slightest things here, aren't we?
They are. I mean, he's got to stop doing it. There's a couple of times a better team would have scored against us, I think. So he's got to sort that out. But that's just trivial, really. I mean, his all-round goalkeeping is pretty good. It's just silly distribution sometimes, and he puts us in trouble. But apart from that, he didn't have a save to make.
He didn't even have a shot on target.
I know.
Yeah, they were a poor side from what I see. Luke says, Dan, that was a very good second half performance, complete control and shutout. We look very impressive at the moment. And this is the point I want to ask you about, unlike last year, we feel that we could carry a couple of injuries too. Really, really happy at the moment the baggies are back. Would you agree with that injury bit as well? The depth of the squad is gonna come in, isn't it? Especially when you've got your first midweek game coming up and you've got 3 games in 7 days.
That's the big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Quality of the bench.
the strength in depth is unreal at the minute. We've got at least 2 or 3 players who can play all over the park. It's just brilliant to see. We've never really had that before.
Unchanged lineup for 5 games now.
Why change your winning side?
Yeah. The new players can't even. Some of the new players can't even get in, can they?
On the bench now.
Okay, Aaron. Let's look at some more. There's lots of shout outs, not just from West Brom fans for Corcoran on Twitter. There's other, even I saw one Premier League pod saying the first Premier League side to sack their manager, which could even be Everton at this moment in time. Corcoran is definitely going to get a call. Does that worry you slightly that his stock has risen over the weekend? I mean, he's always been a good manager, but he is right up there, isn't he, for plucking?
Well, definitely. I mean, any bottom half Premier League side facing relegation at the moment is always going to look at the Championship as as an easy picking, especially the manager top of the league. I mean, I'm sure his contract wouldn't have too high of a figure in it to break the clause, but even still, I'd like to think that he wouldn't want to leave, and he would have that sort of driving him to get us into the Premier League. As I say, he hasn't done that before, really, or at all. Sorry. I mean, he got closer to Huddersfield, but I feel like this time round at West Brom, he's got the best chance to ever do that. So I'd like to think that he would want to stay. Maybe in delusional, maybe, but yeah, I mean, it would. I'd be very, very nervous if Southampton or Everton came calling for Corcoran, and I mean, I'd like to say I would couldn't blame if he was to go, but I'd really hate it. I don't think you can replace a manager like that at all.
Okay, all right. And lastly, I just wanted to get your view on this statistic, which has been put out quite a bit over social media. In terms of the Championship opening 5 games from open play, the chance creation and chances conceded, West Brom are fourth with an XG of 6.3, or an average XG of 6.3. I mean, I don't know what you all make of XG and whether you fully
woke nonsense.
fully embrace it, but when you look at that statistic there and you look at the other sides of Leeds, Sunderland, Borough, and West Brom have the highest, and then if you look there at the open play XG 3.7 for XGA, does that just highlight just how many chances you are creating in games? Okay, you're not taking all of them, but in terms of being prolific, this baggy side are the best in the league at the moment. Dean, do you buy into statistics like that analyse?
Really. I look at the league table, to be honest. That's the only table I look at. But yeah, we are creating chances, and we've got people who can put them away. That's the big difference between now and last season. We were relying on Thomas Asante last season. Much as I loved him as a player, and he was 100%, his finishing wasn't the best. And we fellas crossing him in all the time. We had nobody there. Now Madge has come back, and we've got a proper centre forward who can put the ball away.
Let me ask the younger element of the fan base then, whether XG means anything to them. Aaron?
No. Honestly, I mean, it's not the fact it's confusing. It's pointless anyway. I mean, you can have an expected goals of 7 and score 1. So what difference does it make, really? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, all right.
Pointless.
Fair enough.
Pointless.
Okay. Hey, Wayne Rooney's in town this weekend, and he likes to spoil things. This can't go wrong, can it? It's just made up, isn't it? That you're going to beat all these teams, and then Plymouth are going to rock up. The whole country's going to have this as a home banker, Dean. Tell me, there's nothing we've seen so far that there's a chink in this West Brom armour that means that Rooney's going to come and take 3 points.
Oh, it could easily happen, Mark. We've seen it so many times over the years. We normally look at the fixture list and we think, well, we've got 3 home matches now. Oh, there's some points there. And we've ended up taking 1 point out of the 3 games or something. So, well, we're more than capable of ballsing it up Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Hopefully we won't, but we've done it time and time again over the years. And let's face it, we're not just going to keep winning every game, much as I'd like to think we are. And we do look like we're capable at the moment, but we'll see.
I'm asking this every week, and I don't think the answer doesn't change. But Dan, does he need to make any changes to the starting 11 for this one?
Nah, if they broke, don't try and fix it. So just keep the same. Just keep the same, and then just bring our other superstars off the bench, just to add more fuel to the fire, I suppose.
Okay. All right. We're also reviewing left backs then, as we said. So let's get straight into that. Aaron, in terms of left back position, how do you see your strength and depth in the current squad?
I can't complain, if I'm honest. I mean, you've got Hegem who's been playing there. He's not a traditional left back, but I mean, he's not done a terrible job by any means. I mean, he's been put in for a 6'4" centre half. He's been putting in some decent balls. I must say, so. I mean, I can't complain at all with him. And like Dan says, I wouldn't change the team at all. So I definitely wouldn't bring out Hegem. I mean, you've also got Frabata off the bench, who, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of so far, but I think when he came on at Stoke, he put himself about. He won the ball a few times. He done what he had to do, really. So, I couldn't say he's a. I don't know if he's meant to come in as backup, if I'm honest. I think he's meant to come in and start, but at the moment, Hegem's not letting him have his position, which is, and he deserves that as well. I mean, I think Frabata's a good backup, all being said, and then again, you've still got Callum Styles who can play. He can sort of play left back, I think. I mean, he's more of a left wing back in a back five, or that sort of position. But again, if I'm sure he could do a job there at left back. And I mean, you've got three very, very comfortable players there who are all very good players. I mean, you can't complain with the depth there at all, if I'm honest.
Okay, yep. Good review. Anything to add to that, Dean or Dan?
Not really. I think he's at known yet.
Doing a good job for a centre half, and you can't move him. He was a little bit got caught out a couple of times early on yesterday, I thought, but then he was all right. He settled down. He was fine.
Yeah, okay, good job. One last question for you both.
I was going to say, I think Hegem's the game yesterday for Hegem was probably the worst he's had so far. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game by any means, but probably not his best, I would say.
A couple of scary moments, but he soon got that out of his system.
Okay. All right, last question for you then before we release you. The August Player of the Month has already, I think, been declared by the club, but we're asking you for the unsung player. We're asking you for a name that we haven't talked about on here that you think deserves some recognition. So, Dan, I'll let you start.
I'm probably going to say Darnell Furlong. He's been solid, to be fair, and he don't really get much praise. He's been there a few years now, and he's just definitely not one of the unsung heroes, I think, so far.
Okay, good shout, Aaron.
I'll have to go with Carl Barley. I think, I mean, he wears the captain's armband with pride every single week, and he relinquishes the role, and I feel that he puts in the captain's performance every single week. I mean, he isn't the greatest centre half I've ever had by any means, but he puts himself about and he puts in performances every week, which, I mean, he can be proud of, and I think us as fans can be proud of as well. He just does everything for the badge. He puts the badge first and not himself first, which is brilliant.
Good. Dean, you can steal either of theirs.
Well, I was going to say Darnell Furlong, then Dan said Darnell Furlong, so I was going to say Carl Barley. I said Carl Barley. I'll go for Jason Malumbi.
Okay, fair enough.
Who's 100%. Puts himself about too much sometimes.
All right. Well, enjoy the game against Plymouth. We'll see you on the other side of that. And next week we're talking about right backs and we'll be asking you who's the best right back that we've ever seen in a West Brom shirt. So get thinking caps on for that. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Positivity hopefully will continue next week. We'll see you next week. Cheers all.